Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. You and I are at Kelowna POWERSPORTS in Kelowna, BC, Canada, and we're checking out a 2024 Honda Foreman Rubicon 520. So this guy, he's going to be a liquid-cooled, longitudinally mounted single cylinder. I can never pronounce that word. 518cc, 96 by 71 bore and stroke. You got overhead valve, 2 valves per the cylinder. You got a programmed FI electronic fuel injection. So with true Honda fashion, they have more of a automotive-like transmission than an ATV one, but this one is still fully automatic or 5-speed dual clutch transmission with selectable electric shift program, plus a dual range sub transmission and reverse. So you'll do a range would be your high and your low ranges for your better traction and stuff, of course. It does have standard electric power steering, which is nice. The final drive is 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, shaft driven to both front and rear, of course, with the locking differential. And it's actually a torque sensing locking differential, which would be great. So for suspension on this guy, you're going to have an independent double A-arm suspension on the front with adjustable hydraulic shocks. You're going to have about 185 millimeters or 7.3 inches of wheel travel. And on the rear, again, it's going to be an independent dual A-arm. It also says in brackets here, lower A-arm, upper I-arm with adjustable hydraulic shocks, 215 millimeter or 8.5 inches of wheel travel. So as you would expect from other manufacturers, when you get an entry-level Foreman, it will come with entry-level tires and rims. So this guy, as you can see, will have some 12-inch steely rims on there, 25 by 8 by 12s in the front, 25 by 10 by 12s in the rear. So the most popular size in regards to quad tires. So in order to upgrade, it should be quite easy to find those tires. And it'll have dual front disc brakes, 190 millimeter diameter discs and 170 millimeter diameter discs in the rear, and it looks like it's just a single for the rear. And you're going to have 247 millimeters or 9.7 inches of ground clearance. Your curb weight is going to be 328 kilograms or 723 pounds. You're going to have 14.7 liters of fuel capacity, which is including a 4.9 liter reserve. That's pretty cool. Your front cargo rack is going to be able to carry 45 kilograms or 99 pounds. That ain't bad at all. The rear rack is going to be able to carry 85 kilograms or 187 pounds. That's respectable. Nothing wrong with that. The towing capacity for this unit is going to be 600 kilograms or 1,322 pounds. That also ain't bad for sure. You're going to have the stealth gray color in this model with red striping, as you see. And 12 months unlimited mileage warranty. I think that's here in Canada. And of course, like anything else, you could buy extra coverage. But let's face it, it's a Honda. That would almost be wasted money, I think. So let's talk about Hondas for a second, shall we? From my experiences and research, you're going to have basically your top 3 Japanese models, like your Kawasaki's, your Yamahas, and your Suzuki's. And from what I can tell, from my experience, those 3 are basically all the same quality. Maybe different designs, but you can pretty much expect the same longevity if it's taken care of properly, so on and so forth. And then you have Honda, which is, again, with my research and experience, above those 3. It is basically the toughest machine out there. there are so many Honda quads out there from the early 1990s or maybe the 1980s that are still going strong with incredible mileage and hours on them, and they just keep going and going and going. Hondas have been one of the toughest I've ever seen. If you want something with incredible longevity, this might be what you're after. The only issues I've ever had with Honda is the fact that they seem to be so slow in coming up with the bells and whistles or the niceties that their competitors have had for years. It took them forever, it seemed, to get rear independent suspension or a locking front diff. They just were so slow on coming up with the rest of the gang, so to speak. And you were still paying Honda prices, which are a little bit of a premium over and above the rest, but you weren't getting those features that everyone else had. From what I can tell right now, it seems that they are catching up. Whether they're there 100% yet, not quite sure. But I do see some similarities here. For example, the four-wheel drive and locking front diff switch looks very much like a Suzuki switch, which is okay. They were made strong and built well. Not a problem there. So some of the designs they've used, whether Honda was the first one to come out with them or Suzuki was, whatever, doesn't matter. But they're still using quality components to build their machines, which is sometimes something I can't say for others. But as I said, if you want something that's built tough and it's going to last generations, Honda is without doubt the way to go. But here's a prime example of being a little bit behind their competitors. There's still no 2-inch receiver on this machine. It's got great towing capacity, but you're just a plain simple ball there. Like, come on, Honda, what is it to put a 2-inch receiver there like everybody else? It's little things like that that they have been so slow to come out with. Doesn't mean they're a horrible company or it's a horrible product. Like I said, it's one of the best, if not the best, you'll ever find. You spend your money on this thing and you will have something that still is kicking 20 years from now, guaranteed practically. It's just interesting. It's just interesting how they do things. So, sitting on top of this machine, the seat actually feels quite comfortable. I find it interesting that their display is actually quite a bit smaller compared to everybody else. It's great that it's digital and it's right in front of your face, so that's fantastic. Your keys right there, your buttons right there, everything's easy to find, so that's fantastic. They do have one little storage compartment over here. So maybe a phone and a wallet or something. Bit on the small side, but hey, kudos for having the storage up front, because some of them still don't do that. You'll have your fuel tank up front here too, just like the Polarises do, so that's interesting how they do it that way. And I would think the benefit for that too is to have a little bit more weight on your front, so if you are climbing a fairly steep hill, that weight up front is going to help. Should have been some form of storage on this side too though. But this is the switch I was telling you about that Suzuki uses, so you would press that in for your four-wheel drive and flick that up and that would lock in the front end. So that's cool that they do have that, because for a while their Honda was behind the times with putting front diff locks, but it's there and they've used a fantastic button to operate it, which is great. Typical throttle. And here's I think that's lights. Here's more. This is your kill switch and your override. Got a bit of a pocket here for something. That might be good to store just a small round flashlight or something if you do some night riding. But overall, the stance and the comfort of the seat is excellent. The aerodynamics feel really good. Let me swap hands here. Yeah, same thing. Like your levers are where you would expect them to be. It's not like my CF Moto where you got to stretch about 10 feet it feels to go grab your brake lever. So everything feels really nice in the way it should. You will have some halogen lights on the front, so if you're expecting to do a fair bit of night riding or serious about night riding like I am, definitely some LED lights would be a huge benefit for you. It's great that they got the third light up here so you can actually see where you're turning into. I wish my units had that. So that'd be a cool thing to put a LED in there as well. And of course, get a winch. These things are add-ons or expenses that you truly won't miss when you're in the thick of it and enjoying their benefits. You'll be happy that you spent that money on the winch when you're stuck by yourself, or maybe helping out a friend or something, and you know, the first time you use it pretty much pays itself off in a sense, right? Same thing with the lights. You know, it's so much easier to replace a light bulb than it is to find mounting brackets and drilling holes and running wires and things like that. So I don't know, you might be able to get some cheap lights off of Amazon, but then you still have to wire them up and stuff, whereas for the same cost you can buy a set of light bulbs, pop them right in, and away you go. Tiny storage compartment in the front. I love the fact that they've got solid racks on there. You can tell that's made well. Great front bumper, fantastic. And I think, if I saw right, there's some storage back here as well. Ah, yes. So again, they're using their noodles. They're putting the storage underneath, so you can have full access of your rack. If you want to put a trunk back there or a box of some sort, you can, and you still have access to the storage back here. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Right on. And it's awesome that they have the rear independent suspension. I'm sure they've had that out for a while now, but you know, 10 years ago, to find a quad with independent rear suspension, not every manufacturer did it. So and basically what that means for the rider is much more comfort. It will help in the traction department as well, but it's just a lot easier on the body, because let's face it, we're not riding these things on pavement, so it absorbs the shock or the bumps a lot nicer. And yeah, you just get to enjoy your machine, get to ride it longer. And yeah, usually comfort is what it's all about. So once again, guys, we've reached the end of another Canadian Quadders review episode. As always, so appreciate each and every one of you. If you could take a second right now, please, and hit the subscribe and like button. If we can get a minimum of 10 likes per video, that would be so cool. It would really help the algorithms and bring more people my way. If you have friends or family that have similar interests, please send them my channel. The word of mouth has always been the best form of advertisement. It works really, really well. And with that, come on down to Kelowna POWERSPORTS and talk to all the guys here. They got a fantastic showroom and parts room, and it's amazing all the stuff they have. Multiple name brands in here: BMW, CF Moto, Honda, Kawasaki. I think they do some Kawasaki stuff too, I believe. But they have it all. So come on down, say hi to them, and you won't be disappointed. With that, I am out of here. As I said, so appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next video, and thank you all for watching.